You present the work. The deck is open. The slides are moving. You explain the thinking. You walk through the choices. Why this angle? Why this order? Why this version? People react. Not aggressively, not critically. They comment on different parts. One person talks about the headline. Another reacts to the tone. Somebody else zooms in on a detail. It feels busy but positive. Then it happens. Yeah, looks good. Couple of nods, no clear objections, no pushback. This sounds like confirmation. Not excitement, not celebration, just that quiet sense of, okay, we're aligned. You close the deck. You leave the meeting thinking it's settled. Nothing particularly to be proud of. Everyone is simply on the same page. A couple of days later, an email pops in. Subject line, quick thought. Or worse, following up on the deck. You already know what this means. Your stomach drops a little. You open the email. It starts with something like this. After showing this to X, can we maybe revisit? Thinking about this more. You know the drill. Same file, same work, and yet it's back with new doubts. The part you already explained. The part that already got a yes. This is the moment where the confusion hits, because nothing really changed. No new data, no new constraints, same brief. So you ask yourself, what happened? There's no clean answer. You start editing anyway. Not rethinking, not redesigning the idea, stabilizing. You change a word, adjust a sentence, add a clarification slide, reframe the same point. You're not improving the work. You are trying to make the approval hold. And this feels familiar. Not the specific slide, the loop. You've already done this version of the task. Not once, more than once. And that's what makes it irritating. Not loud irritation. Quiet, persistent. The work wasn't rejected. It wasn't criticized. It was approved, actually. And yet, it's back again. Here's the part people don't say out loud. That looks good did not protect anything. It sounded like alignment. It felt like alignment. But it did not behave like alignment. You notice how it changes you next time. You explain more, but not because people asked for it. Because last time, explanation didn't stick. You add more context to slides that don't need it. You anticipate objections that were not raised yet. You're not responding to specific feedback. You're simply bracing for yet another reopening. You hear things like, let's just keep iterating. And it sounds reasonable, professional, collaborative. But you feel the shift, because iterating doesn't necessarily mean improving. It means we're not actually done. Here's the spike. The approval wasn't wrong. It was hollow. It didn't close the decision. It simply postponed it. From that point on, every yes feels provisional. So every piece of work carries doubt. You stop trusting the moment something gets approved. You wait for it to circle back to you. And it almost always does. A forwarded email, a Slack message, a quick phone call. Always after the meeting, always outside the room. That's when the work becomes unstable. But not because it's bad, because it never becomes safe. You keep working on it mentally. You keep fixing it. Not because you know what's wrong, but because doing something feels better than simply waiting for it to circle back again. Over time, this changes your relationship with work. You stop aiming for finished. You start aiming for defensible. You are already preparing for the second conversation while you are still in the first one. And slowly but surely, your confidence erodes. Not during meetings, after. You leave with less certainty than you walked in with. This is where the frustration builds. Not at the people, at the loop. You start thinking, why does nothing ever stick? Why does every confirmation feel temporary? Here's the uncomfortable truth. This isn't a quality problem, and this isn't people problem. This is a decision clarity failure. Not because the decisions are bad, because no one owns them in a way that survives once the meeting is over. And when no one stands behind the approval, it becomes a pause, not the end. The uncertainty doesn't disappear, it relocates. It lands on the person closest to the work, you. That's why you are explaining the same thing twice. That's why the work never really rests. And until you notice that moment, the moment where approval failed to protect, it's very easy to think the problem is your execution. It's not.